My name is Shannon Smith. I teach life skills in a self-contained classroom. I have 6th through 12th grade students. I have one para, so our teacher-student ratio is 2 to 9. I am doing my action research project on reducing off-task behaviors using praise, behavior-specific praise. I chose a 6th grade student with Down syndrome to be the subject of my research project. This student has displayed disruptive behavior throughout the year. He will make noises or blurt out. He gets up, dances around the room, just walks around the room, anything to be a distraction. Especially when it's a subject matter that he's not real interested in. So I wanted to try to see if I could reduce this behavior and improve the learning environment in the classroom for all the students. His behavior has caused problems with his learning, but as well as the other students, because they have, one, verbally told me, sometimes they just straight call him out and tell him to be quiet. And other times it's evident in their assignments. They do poorly, or they just can't answer the questions that I'm asking because they didn't hear the full instruction. So I chose this in order to try to create a more positive learning environment, so that all the students can get what they need out of the instruction. To start my research, I would gather the baseline data, and to do this I would use behavior tracking forms. I would record each of his disruptive behaviors, whether it's the talking, the blurting out, the dancing, the playing around with things on his desk, whatever it is. Count each one of those per class period, how many times he disrupts the instruction. I would then, I would either record that or have my para record it while I was teaching. I would look at that data to determine that we do have a problem and how can we reduce that. So in my research, I looked at different interventions that could possibly help me, and I chose the behavior-specific praise. In my research, I found that it improves student engagement. It is effective with students who have attention and focus problems. It is also a low cost, minimal training, and easily implemented in the classroom. So behavior-specific praise just means that you reinforce the behavior that you have desired. So if the student is sitting there quietly listening or raises his hand before he speaks, then I could respond with, I like the way you've raised your hand, so it's your turn to talk. When I start to implement this into our classroom, I would first begin by going over the class rules, giving the expectations of what appropriate behavior in class is, and then as I see that behavior, again, just reinforce with positive reinforcement that he is doing the task that I desire. If I'm not available during this time, then I would have my para implement that for me. And then also, again, like I said, she will keep track of the forms and collect the data. So we would take this information for each class period for 1 week and then analyze that to see that, yes, we do need to get it implemented in. Once the implementation has started, I still will collect the data with the desire or the hope that those disruptive behaviors decrease. If I show a decrease over the next couple of weeks, then it would be evident to say that it's working. So I could continue to implement the behavior-specific praise and eventually fade it out the more he has a decrease in disruptive behavior and increase in his positive behavior. If behavior-specific praise did not work initially, and I show that he's at the same level or has had an increase in the behavior, I could then implement other plans. I could either increase the specific praise that I give him, or I could include others, such as giving him verbal prompts when he's misbehaving and what the desired behavior is. Or another intervention that I found was scheduled breaks, and I have used those in my classroom before. Sometimes with the scheduled breaks, it just gives a chance to refocus and regroup. So I would then conclude my presentation of the on-task behaviors.